Welcome to Dan's Crypto Adventures. Today I thought I would do a video on another operating system that can be used for mining. So I thought I'd do one on Simple Mining OS. Sometimes people write it just SMOS, the initials of each word. So we're going to get into it and look at how to install it and set it up to get mining. Now, a couple of things about Simple Mining OS. It is limited, and there's some limitations on it. You cannot mix AMD cards and NVIDIA cards. You got to pick one or the other. It does not support Vega cards. You can do up to 15 cards, but some other boards limit you to 13. So I'd really just consider it 13 as the upper limit. So those are some of the limitations. Some of the great things about it are that it's super simple to use. It's very easy. You can install it a couple of ways. We're going to install it today on a USB drive. This is just a PNY 32 gig I had laying around. And I've never installed it on an SSD, so why not? Let's try to install it on there and see what happens. So this is, again, I just had this laying around. This is a SanDisk SSD. It's 128 gigs. Now for Simple Mining OS, you don't need a very big drive at all to run the operating system. I think 8 gigs is actually the minimum you need. So these are both pretty overkill. So I'm going to switch over to a computer right now, and then we'll take a look at installing this onto first the USB drive, and then we'll do the SSD and see what happens.
Alright, so now we're on my laptop. So first off, let's start with a USB stick. So again, I've got a PNY 32 gig USB 3.0. So let's go ahead and plug that in. So that is in my computer now. Go to this PC, and right there it is. So it has shown up. So now let's go to Google, and be careful where you download Google from, Simple Mining OS from. So we're just gonna search for that, and then this is it right here, simplemining.net. So that is the legit site. So we're going to go there, and so this here is the front page of that. So this tells you a little bit about how to install it. Over here talks about how to install it, but we're going to run through that. Talks a little bit about it up here, how simple and great it is. Right here talks about the price. It does cost $2 per month per rig. So I have 2 rigs running, so I pay $4 a month to run this particular software. They will let you go for a few days for free, so you can install it, see how you like it, make sure you can get it up and working. So obviously try that, and then you can put in some funds to pay for it. So now right here is where we're going to download the software, and we need to look and see what kind of cards we have. There's 3 different versions here. The first one here, the R series, this is for kind of the older AMDs, the AMD HD series and the R9 series. RX series is for the RX, AMD RX series. And then we have the NV series, which is the NVIDIA cards. Again, this does not yet support Vega cards, so you're out of luck. If you notice, you have to pick the series that matches your cards, and so you cannot mix NVIDIA and AMD, and you also cannot mix certain AMD cards into this. And right down here it tells you minimum 7 gigs, so we're far exceeding that right now. So right now we want the NV series, which is right here. So we're going to download that. So that is downloading right down here. We also need to download this right here, etcher.io. That is how you flash the software to the USB drive. So we're going to click on that and install that, or go to that website and download for Windows. So it's going to pop up there. So I'm going to click on that, and once it downloads, we will install it. Now I've already installed that software on this system, so I'm not sure exactly what it'll say, but we'll go through it. It should be pretty straightforward to install that software. Alright, so I've jumped ahead a little bit. I'm just waiting for the Etcher to download, and so this screen has popped up here. The Simple Mining OS is still downloading down here, but we can go ahead and do the Etcher setup. So this is what pops up when it's done downloading. Yes, we agree to everything, so let's do that. Now it is installing. Alright, so again, I jumped ahead, just let it do installing. I've not clicked anything. This right here is the first window that has popped up. But for now, we're going to close that because we're still downloading Simple Miner. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to leave my browser open while it is still downloading Simple Mining OS, and then I will skip ahead a little bit and then show you guys what to do once it has downloaded. Alright, so Simple Mining OS has finished downloading. So let's go find it. And we're going to move it onto the desktop, just so we know where it is. So here it is, Mining OS right there. Now we are going to run that Etcher program that we already installed. Maybe we're going to run it. Takes a while to load. Okay, so here is the Etcher program. So we're going to select image. We're just going to point it directly to that file we just downloaded, which is on the desktop, which is right there. So if you open, now we select the device, click on change, and pick whichever device you're going to install it to. In this case, of course, it's just the USB drive. That's the only option there. Continue, and then we're going to press flash. Yes. And then it will start. This will take a few minutes, so again, I'm going to jump ahead, and then I'll continue once it is done this stage. Alright, and so it's wrapping up here in just a few seconds. Just kidding, it's got to validate. So we will wait until that is done. Alright, so the validating is wrapping up. Hopefully this is the end. So we'll see here in a few seconds. Alright, so it has finished. One thing to note is that little pop-up there, so there was a problem with this drive. There's nothing wrong with the drive. If you think about what we just did, we just made a bootable USB stick. So this USB stick we could stick in a computer, turn it on, and tell the computer to boot from it. So obviously Windows is another operating system, so it doesn't like that. So it thinks that it's something that it wants to get rid of or clean or format. But we do not want to do that. So we're going to close this. Now I'm going to take out the USB stick. So it is out. And then we're going to put it right back in. And you'll see again, right down here, there's a problem with this drive. There's nothing wrong with that drive. We're going to go to this PC, and right there it is. Now, if you remember, this is a 32 gig USB, but right here it shows 8 megabytes. And the reason is it's partitioned that USB drive into two. One is the operating system, and then one is this little space here for this. We're going to go into this, and there's a little config file right here. You must edit this in order for Simple Mining OS to work. So we're going to open that up. And then right here, we need to change this email to our email address. So I'm not going to show you guys what my email address is, but just type in your email address right there. That is extremely important that you do that. So once you type that in, we're going to close and save. And we are done. Alright, and so here we are on my rig, and so here is where we're going to look at installing Simple Mining OS onto the SSD. So here's the file that I've downloaded. I'm going to open it up and uncompress it. So we'll just drag it out. So use whatever software you'd like, but that is the first step. Then we're going to use a program called HDD Raw Copy Tool. And so just go to Google and search for that. And you should come up with similar results here. HDD Guru is the website. Once you go to this website, now be careful. They do a lot on here to try to trick you into downloading other stuff. There's a whole lot of ads. So right here is what you want. just a simple text right here where it says to download the software. So download that. And as soon as it is done, just go ahead and install it. So we're going to continue to install that software. So now we're done. Let's get rid of this. So now we're done uncompressing the file. So there is the new uncompressed file. So now we're going to open up HDD-RAW copy tool. This right here, please select source. So this is where we're going to double click on where it says file, and then we're going to go to the desktop and look for that file that we just extracted. So make sure you get the right one. You want the one that you use is uncompressed. And open it, then click continue. Now it says please select target. So now we're going to click whatever SSD you're going to go to. So in this case the SanDisk, and continue. And we click start. And it's going to do its thing for a few minutes. Alright, so it is wrapping up right now. So it just says task complete right there. So we can close this. And same as the USB, we're going to go into this PC. Open up the small section there, then config, and then we're going to change our email address to whatever your email address is. And once this is complete, we are ready to go. So now the SSD is all set up. So we can shut down this computer and plug it into the rig and turn it on and see what happens.
Alright, so now we have got the USB stick and the SSD with Simple Mining OS on it. So let's plug it in, turn the computer on, and see what happens. So we're going to plug this in down here after I drop it. So it is plugged in, and this rig is set up to where when the power comes on, it'll automatically turn on. So let's just turn the power on, both power supplies. So everything is fired up. All the fans are turning. See what happens. Alright, now sometimes it'll do this. It says on here there's no screen to be attached matching miner. Sometimes it'll say that. Other times it'll actually show if it's updating or not, and then it will show kind of the hash rate that you're getting. This really doesn't matter to us because with this software you really don't use a monitor at all. You log in through the web browser to view kind of the miner and change the settings and overclocking, all that kind of thing. So it says that, but let's switch over to my laptop and log in there to see what it looks like when we log in remotely. Even though it's doing this, it's still up and running. So let's look at the laptop and see what it shows.
So we are back on my laptop. So now we want to log into the Simple Mining OS website so we can set up our miner and get it running. So we're going to open up the browser, Google SMOS. Mine right here on top. And so this again is that front page. We want to do register, and we're going to type in our email address. Create your password. And then I'm not a robot. And then register. Oops. Okay, so it created the account. It's going to send me an email to verify. So let's go to our email address, our email account. And there it is. Click on the link, and we're active. So a whole bunch of little security warnings here, updates, all that kind of thing to click through. Now we get to here, and so here is our miner actually. So we can, here is, I haven't named it yet. It's not mining anything, I haven't set anything up. You can see it comes with a free 3 days of use. This is a 6-card rig, so you can see the 6 cards. I click on console, and it will show you what is on the screen. So it's basically saying I haven't set up any groups, so it's not, it can't mine anything at this time. So it's just kind of going in circles. Here's the overclocking tab that we're not going to talk about quite yet. And then some other things. So the first thing let's do is name it. So you can call it whatever you want. I'll call it no name 1. There's a refresh right here to get it to refresh. No name 1. Group. So we've changed the name here. It's not running. We haven't set it up yet. We're going to go over here to rig groups. Here's the default one. The first one kind of comes in there. We do not need that one, but looks like there's no way to delete it. So we're going to do add group. And I'm just going to do one real quick here just so I can show you guys how to get it to run. So let me show you what I did just there. So I did add group. I picked one of the miners. These are all the different miner software programs that come with it. What algorithms they can hash, and then usually there's some information right here about what is new, when it was added, that kind of thing. So I'm just going to do one real quick that I can set up just to show you how to get it working. So I'm not going to go into detail as to what I'm doing. Okay, so I've typed in group name, Zcash, group description, Zcash hub. So this is linking to the miningpoolhub.com pool. So we're going to do add group. Now we can see we've got our 2 groups here. This is the default one that comes with the system. I want to set the one I just made as the default. I want you to confirm. So we have the Zcash group. Now we want to tell the miner to mine with that group there. So we're going to go to rig list, which is where we can see all of our miners. I only have 1 on this account. So this is where you have the rig. If you had another rig, there would be another little box right here underneath it that would show the second rig. So we're going to go to click this square right here. So we're selecting that rig, assign group. Now it gives a little drop-down menu here for default in Zcash that I just created. Now, if you make a bunch of groups, this list right here will be quite long. But again, just for the quick demonstration purposes, we're going to click on Zcash. Then you can choose to reload the miner or reboot it. In this case, I'm just going to do reload and then save. Now, if you notice that this right here turned red, that's because it is reloading the miner. Once it has done that, this will go back to bluish gray color that all these other ones are. Alright, so we're still waiting for the software to reload the miner. It does take a few minutes to do that. Try refreshing. It has some souls showing up right there. This right here is the console. You can click that and it'll kind of show you what's happening. So here you can see my 6 GPUs and their total souls. So right now it's running at 2459. Nothing's overclocked. This is just stock. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that it is working. So that is how you get a USB drive up and running with Simple Mining OS.
So now we've got the SSD plugged in. You guys can't see it, it's way in the back, just kind of dangling back there. But it is plugged in, and I've taken out the USB drive that we were playing with. And so let's turn it on and see what happens. I might need to go in the BIOS and change the settings in there to start from an SSD. So let's just see what happens. Alright, so Simple Mining came up here. It's checking for updates. There is an update on this one, so it's downloading it. Says a bunch of stuff. I don't know what it means. Now let's jump into another screen. So apparently it restarted the miner. So now it's logging in again, checking for an update. Another update was found, so it is installing that one. It's actually online, it says that it's updating as well. It's kind of neat. Okay, so I did a whole bunch of updating on this one. But now we have it logged in. It has found the 6 GPUs. It's server setting the difficulty. So hopefully it will start mining here in a minute. There we go. Now the GPUs are all coming up. I realize you guys probably can't see this on the screen, but it's actually mining now. It has the temperatures and the souls per card. So now we are running Simple Mining OS off of the SSD. So there's one more thing I want to try, and I'll show that to you guys here in a minute. Alright, so one of the advantages of, like we just talked about, the USB is that they're cheap. You know, these can be $7 or $8 a piece. And so if one goes bad, you simply toss it, grab a new one, you know, rewrite the information to it, plug in your email address, and then load it in, and it'll be like it never happened. So we're going to simulate that right here. I've actually never done this, so let's just pull out the USB and see what happens. Yeah, see a bunch of error messages shot up here, so clearly it's not going to work. So if I were to log in remotely right now, it would be clear that it is not up and running. So it says ext4-fs error. Again, I have absolutely no idea what any of that means. Know nothing about this software, but I like it. It's pretty simple to use. So we're going to pretend this right here burst into flames and doesn't work. So we're just going to toss that aside, and we're going to grab another one. I'm not going to film this, but I'm going to log into my laptop, and we'll turn it on and reinstall the software to this, and then plug in my email address, and then we will plug it in there, turn it on, and see what happens. Alright, so I've rewritten Simple Mining OS to another USB, another one I had laying around, plugged in my email address. Let's turn it on and see what it does. So it's logging into simplemining.net, checking version of the software. This is up to date, so it doesn't need to download. It found all 6 GPUs. It's setting the server, setting the difficulty. And let's just make sure it starts mining. So there we have it. There it is mining. So GPU 0, 1, 2, 3. It's still going through those. It's got the same temperature and souls per card showing there. So there you have it. That's one of the huge advantages of this software, and using an inexpensive USB drive. Again, they're what, $8. If one goes bad, you just toss it and grab another one. So there you have it. Alright guys, so there you have it. There is my guide on installing Simple Mining OS. You can install it on an SSD. USB. I didn't try it on a conventional hard drive, but I'm sure you can install it on that as well. So it's a pretty versatile software package. Again, I know absolutely nothing about Linux and all that stuff. I don't know anything about it. I'm more of a Windows guy, but I'm able to use it. It works great. That's actually what I use for my miners. All of them are running on that right now. So that's what I like and run. So we talked about installing it on an SSD. Remember, you can, but this is what, $40–50 for an SSD versus USB, which is 8 or 10. And the huge advantage of this software is if the USB goes bad for some reason, just toss it and grab a new one. The only reason I would use an SSD is if you have a bunch laying on your house and it's too far of a drive to go buy a USB. You can buy these things anywhere now. A lot of grocery stores even carry them. So they're very readily accessible. It apparently does not store the overclocking settings on these devices. It must keep track of those on the website, because if you throw one away and plug in a new one with your email address, it knows what your overclock settings were. So all that information must be stored, on their website or somewhere else. So again, this is what I use for all of my miners. So anyway, thanks guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give me a subscribe and a like if you thought it was helpful for you. Thanks.